2.6 and 2.7 are, in my opinion, inseparable. So despite us dividing this across 2 weeks, I'm going to do both sets of notes one after another and then go through the exercises with you. So booleans, what a funny name. What is it? It's a true value or a false value. That's it. Just true or false. Why is it called that? Because of this guy here, Boole. He is just a logician, mathematician, philosopher. He kind of did all the formal logic. If you had experience with it, you might remember if P then Q, where we have like a statement P, and if that's true, Q happens. So if it is raining, then I use an umbrella, and all sorts of other formalized logic stuff that we'll be getting into in this unit. So, just a quick example. We declare a Boolean variable called isStudent equals true. And then we just print it. Is this person a student? Plus the value of it, true or false. I noticed some of us kind of writing this for all of our Booleans. We definitely don't need to do that. And we're getting more confused when we do the read line, so I'll make sure we're careful with that too. Let's look at the logical operators, because again, they go hand in hand. They let us connect and modify existing Boolean expressions. So if we have a true, we can then connect it to another one and kind of look at the combined value. We have 3 different ones that we're going to use a lot: not, or, and end. Not is just an exclamation point. It negates it. So if you negate a true statement or a true variable, it becomes false. And if it's false, it becomes true. So we probably know where the exclamation point is. It's shift 1. Or the double pipes and the ampersand. Maybe we haven't used those before, so why don't we just take a look at it so we're not confused. So here's a standard keyboard. If you hold shift, and then press either 7 for ampersand, you'll find that there. You use 2 of them, and then there's the pipe over here above enter, below backspace. Shift, 2 pipes gets you an or. So what's really key is how we kind of use them in our coding. And I'll leave that little graphic up. So the not operator negates them. If we have a true value, it becomes false when we put an exclamation point behind it. The end operator. So if we have a joined end, we take the Boolean value of both of them together. Both need to be true for it to be true. And if either one of them are false, it becomes false. So here we have a false and a true, becomes false. False and true becomes false. False and false becomes false. The or, only one needs to be true for it to be true. So both are true, it's true. True and false, true. False and true, true. And that's 2 pipes between them. So let's just kind of look at how one of them work. We declare a Boolean variable light on. In the next line, we negate it by just assigning it itself but negated. If we do this a whole bunch of times, like in a loop, it would turn on and off. And that's kind of it for the different notes there. So let's turn off my keyboard and actually go to some of the exercises. Going back to 2.6. Remember, I did both the notes for 2.6 and 2.7 just now. These shouldn't be too bad. What's example of Boolean? It's true or false, no quotes. What is it? What did I just say? True or false, no quotes. Look at the example. Again, maybe it's a little no, this time it's only one. So we are going to print out, I don't like how they did this because it's called isStudent, and then we're printing out isStudent. So I'm going to change this string. Is this person a student? So maybe it looks a little bit different, and I would maybe call this a different variable, but you know, it's fine. So we have it false. Is this person a student? Prints out false. Quick and simple example. So the errors I was seeing us get here, we were maybe not looking at the assignment, or maybe kind of making a wrong conclusion from that print statement before. We don't need to print out a string and then the actual value, and we certainly don't need to do that on a read line. So let's look. We ask the user if they like ice cream. So yeah, we know that's always true, but don't hard code it like that. You have to ask them, and we're going to look at our docs for the code there. Then we save that as a Boolean, meaning we declare a Boolean and use the read Boolean to get the input, and then print it out. So write my code here. Oh, thanks. I'm going to keep it kind of big today because we're not writing anything too complicated. Remember, we have a Boolean, so we're going to call it like cream, if they like ice cream. Don't forget to declare it. Boolean, like cream, equals, we want to get a user input, right? If we don't remember, we can look at a docs. Printing a console, no. Variables, no. Methods, no. User input, yes. We want to read a boolean from that. So we have a declared boolean, just like we do here. And we're going to have a read boolean with a prompt. Remember, the prompt is a string of something in quotes. You could pass a string to it if you really want, but it's asking a question, so a question's good here. That's it. That's all we need to put there. Don't forget the space after it. What I was seeing was something like this. Which doesn't really make sense, or it was light cream in this case, but we're just asking it. We're not printing out the value of it. We're just asking them if it's true or false. It's going to be a true or false answer only. So let's get rid of that whole line that I said is wrong. And now what do? We get the user input, and what does it ask us to? Print it right out. Just print out true or false. You're probably printing out, yes, the user like ice cream. No, it doesn't, but that's it. Another system not out. Print the variable itself. Not true or false, the variable itself, which will have a true or false value, true and false, but we're just printing the variable. Do I like ice cream? Yes, it'll reject it because I'm not writing true or false. True. That's it. I know it's kind of a shock coming from Carol, where our answers were getting a little bit more involved, going to just 2 or 3. So don't get too worried. We already did the notes here on 2.7. Here goes the video. What's the following is a logical operator? Well, if you weren't sure, go back, look at the videos. Exclamation point, the double pipes, or the double ampersand. So what will this evaluate to? That's the tricky part. Let's look at it closely. We have true, and we have value A, let's think about it as, and value B. And we know with an ampersand, both need to be true for it to be true, right? Okay, well, is true true? Yes. What's the opposite of false? We're doing not false. It's true. So true and true evaluate to true. Submit, move on. Okay, here's the, again, this is example code, so we can maybe mess around with it, but just kind of look at what's happening. We have a boolean that we're declaring to start as true. Then we're going to print it out, yes or no. It's going to be true or false. This is also probably screwing us up because I'm seeing a lot of our code like this. We don't need to have a string and then the value, but in this case they're printing out if it's true or false. After each print we negate it, so we should get true for the first print, then we negate, get false, then negate again, and we get true. True, false, true, and it's printing the string. If we flip this, and if I spell it right, we'll obviously get false, true, false. Nothing too bad. The assignment here, get user input. Very explicitly, we're reading 2 booleans. Also, get user input. Start in the variable tall enough and old enough. So what do you think we need? 2 variables, both booleans, from user input. Nothing too bad to code. Blow my screen up to a reasonable size. Go back to docs, just so we can have all of our things there. We're doing this twice. We can copy and paste it, but just practice typing it. That's what I will do. We need 2 booleans, so we're going to declare them. What were they? Tall enough and old enough. And they're both coming from read booleans. Did they have any specific words they want us to ask? Nope. We just want to print true or false at the end. So tall enough to ride. We're just going to ask them. Not the greatest security at this roller coaster, if we're just asking the riders if they can get on or not, but that's fine for us. We don't need to measure them, we just need to ask them. What did I forget here? Why is it not green? You guessed a quote, you're right. Okay, so right now we have 2 different booleans, but we need to print out the logical value of them. So I'm going to declare a third one right now, just so we can kind of see how that works, and then we're going to print out that third one. So We're going to call it can ride. We're not going to initialize it right now. We're going to go back to that line, and then we're going to print it out. So this is essentially going to print out a string version of whatever we put in. So if we're going to initialize it and print it out, but then we're going to do a small change just so you can see a little bit further how this print statement works. So let's look at can ride. So we want it to be if they are both of these are true, if they're eligible to ride because they're tall enough and old enough, then we want it to be true. So what did I just say? Tall enough and old enough, right? That's exactly what we're writing. Remember, we're going to use our logical operators to figure out if this is true. And then I'll kind of think about how this works. Can ride, tall enough and old enough. So this is one statement here. If this is true and this is true, can ride will be evaluated as true. If one of them is false, we get it false because of the ampersand here. So let's run it, see what happens. Tall enough to ride, true. I didn't spell that right. True. Old enough, true. We print out true. What could we have done differently? Well, instead of having this whole line here and then printing that out, if we put this logical statement in our print statement, it'll evaluate that as well. I just want to tell them yes, not true. And see, and sure enough, we had this commented out, but it prints out that value here. And of course, if this was pipes, only one of them needs to be true. And we still get true, but we don't want that. For niceness sake, for neatness, I would just I would declare it as a separate one, call it can ride, so we don't have to worry about passing things in there. And we will leave this as uncommented. Boom. That should be it for this exercise. And that's pretty much it for this week's videos. Thanks.